time for the Salt and Sass Podcast, when we share our love for the wonderful world of board games with you, whether you're a gaming veteran or just starting your tabletop journey. Welcome to episode 82. I'm Suzanne.
And I'm Mandi.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. So lovely to have you. If you're like me, Mandi, I'm getting in the board game mood because where I live, it's fall and it's cloudy and rainy, and it just makes me want to hunker down inside with a warm drink and a board game.
That. Yep.
I don't know. You live up here too, so maybe it's the same for you.
Yeah, same sort of deal. I totally get that.
I love it. I love it. Our friends
snow.
in Australia are like, what the heck are you talking about?
Right.
I gotta tell you, Mandi, as you know, and just for folks out there listening, it's been a wild few days for me. Unfortunately, I had a little family emergency that's completely swept me away from life and whatever. So it's gonna be fine. But that just means, Mandi, I haven't really played many board games in the last week. I haven't played a multiplayer board game in over a week. Yikes. But thankfully, solo games exist, so I have been getting some solo plays, getting my solo board games stretched out, which is nice.
That's a plus, exactly.
Exactly, so I'll be talking about one of those today, but I'm not sure how I'm going to do this episode. I might need you to step in and cover me a lot more than usual. I'm a little out of it.
Got a couple games.
Bless your heart. So let's see. We'll talk video games because I have been playing a video game obsessively. I did do that. We'll talk that. We'll talk the games we've been playing and serve up a game pie and call it good. What do you think?
I think that works for me.
Amazing. So, all right. Enough about me. What have you been up to? You went to a game convention? I didn't even know you were going to a game convention.
I know. I just snuck that in there. So
yeah, how could you keep it a secret from me?
I know. Lately, I've just been conventions. I don't know. It's been weird. So I figured I've been doing a lot more local game conventions. When I say local, mostly in Canada, but this one is only about an hour and a half away. So I was in Montreal for Ludicon, and I went with a couple friends, and we had a really just relaxed time, I wasn't working, so it was really nice to see some of the people in the community that are part of the board gaming community in Montreal, because Quebec as a province, I feel that in general is a very big in the board game scene, and they definitely have within their culture a lot of board game things that maybe we don't see. And I put this in quotes, the English part of Canada, so meaning French is the primary language for those who aren't aware of Quebec, and English being the primary language, but we do have obviously bilingualism everywhere. But there are some pockets in Quebec that I feel like not the rest of Canada gets to see. And I had this conversation with some of the publishers that are based out there, and they said, definitely there's a scene that maybe the rest of us in Canada don't always see. So I think it is bigger than we think in Quebec. So it was really nice to see that. I picked up some dice. So did my friend Stephanie, who I went with. We picked up some dice.
Because Lord knows you needed more dice.
Of course. It was just a little thing to commemorate going to a local convention. So I got some more dice. I didn't need dice, but they're very pretty. Steph's had mushrooms in them, so that was really cool. But anyway, so all that to say, we got to play some really nice games, really nice food. That was really nice too. We had a 4 or 5 course dinner, so it was fabulous. And just hanging out with some all around good people. So Ludicon, if it's thinking about going to a convention and you're close to the Montreal area, that might be one to consider. Good time.
That's amazing. Yeah, I wasn't really familiar with it. How many people? Is it 100 people? Is it 5,000 people?
Oh, I don't think it's quite that big. And
it's bigger than CanadaCon?
It is definitely bigger than CanadaCon. Okay. CanadaCon's 150 people. This is definitely more in the 500 to 600, maybe more, but I think it's probably in that ballpark.
Nice.
But Hélène or Mario, if you're listening, I'm sure you'll be able to correct me on those numbers, but it is definitely bigger than the local convention here in Ottawa.
Well, I'm jealous.
Oh.
Hopefully you got to play a lot of fun games.
It was good.
Cool. So I have not gone to a convention. I haven't done anything super extra, but I wanted to talk about a video game, and y'all are going to think I'm weird, maybe, but I'm obsessed with a game about flipping a coin.
Okay.
The whole game is geared around winning or losing a coin flip.
Tell me more.
Yeah, it's a roguelite game about coin flipping. So this is, everything has a roguelite. The other one I've been playing is from the people who did, is it Bellatra? I can't. There's the coin pusher machines. I talked about this. Yeah, Ratcoin. They released their demo on Steam.
Nice.
Excellent. But that's how everything has a roguelite now, right?
Okay.
That's
It's
just
true.
the thing.
Very
So
true.
now we have coin flipping the roguelite, bananas, a game called Queue Up. the letter
Okay.
Q dash UP, Q up. And
Interesting.
you go into this thing and it is brilliant. I cannot tell
Oh.
you how brilliant a game about coin flips is. It is intended to be a satirical take on the wild world of esports in a way. So the
Okay.
whole aesthetic, it's got a story in which you're kind of getting recruited and you form esports teams and you've got sponsorships, and it just has satirical send-ups of different elements of like the online world and software development and game development companies and
Okay.
esporting. It's so clever. The writing on this game about coin flipping is clever. And the fact that they managed to, it's entertaining on that level. The mechanics are fascinating. So basically, you're going to go in, you're going to take a team of 4 on each side, and you've got powers, and you're trying to earn the most money and Q and level up.
Mm-hmm.
Over, and first team to win 3 coin flips, literally a flip of a coin, wins
so
the round.
funny. Oh my
It's
gosh.
bananas. If it was more, I mean, and you're going to lose or win, it's 50-50, right? But of course, you're going to build up your capabilities over time. So you're
Okay.
going to gain things that you can spend to equip yourself. So on every flip, you get bonuses, or on every win, you get bonuses, or on every loss, you get a trigger, that kind of thing. So you're building up this, and they have a very clever tech tree that lets you do this. So you have a big, yeah, exactly, Mandi. You made a little ooh face. I
I'm
saw
looking
that.
it up as you're talking about it, by the way.
Yeah, you've got this genius tech tree where you have different nodes that unlock, and you have control over where you position some things. You have action points that you can allocate, and there's chaining and everything like that in this tech tree that you build up. It's very smart. And what I also love is that there's a whole cast of characters that you can do runs in.
Yeah.
They're very, very different. So there's a gambler, there's a medic, there's a champ, and the medic plays totally different than the gambler, and their tech trees are totally different. Oh, so much to explore in there. It's fantastic. So you're going to do that. There's an economy that the game gives you that you're going to figure out as you go that's very, very clever. And you do get to the point where you still have these random wild highs and lows because it's still a coin flip. And so if your build has really optimized, on a win, you're going to get 50 million points. But then on a loss, you lose 40 million. Like it's bananas. You have these really big highs and lows, but you're not totally out of control. You have influence. You've got this brilliant tech tree. You've got this wonderful, clever, satirical writing. It's very polished in its presentation. There's tons of stuff to unlock. There's tons of discovery as you go. The game keeps on feeding you more little nuggets of new things that keep you interested and entertained. Like, I'm here raving about a coin flip roguelite. But that's how good it is. That is how good this game is. Queue up. I know it sounds like an odd concept, but if you're a mechanical player, just keep in mind that tech tree is genius. And the different tech trees between the different heroes are genius. And if you're a story person, it's the satire, the humor, the story points. There's this whole thing between a character named Bob and Annie that you're getting their email. Oh my gosh, it's great. So queue up. I highly recommend you check this out. Maybe it's not going to be for you. I've put a lot of hours in it since it released like 4 days ago.
Oh my God. Listen, sometimes games just catch our attention. I was just poking through it now, and it's the first line kills me. Sick of long queues, unfair matchups, and arbitrary reflex tests? Try Queue Up, the coin flipping esport. I love that it's an esport because I'm like, I don't know. But then when you start talking about the tech tree and all these kind of fun things, I'm like, okay, I need to know more. So Queue Up looks interesting. You know me. I got to wait till it goes on sale.
Fair enough. What have you been up to, Mandi? I see a list of games here in the show notes, and one of them in particular I want to know more about.
For sure. So first I'll make this like super quick. Like some of them it's just ones I've been playing a lot. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise because I've talked about them before. But before I jump into the games quickly, off recording, we were talking about, we just found out Steam Deck is coming out with a console or system. What are they calling it? I don't even know.
The Steam Box. I think it's called the Steam Box.
Anyway, so I thought I'd throw that out there. So for people who are thinking about, maybe not an Xbox or PlayStation, they're thinking if this is priced right, this might blow those out of the water, those consoles. So if you haven't heard of it, that's a thing. So that was a surprise-ish to me. I knew they were thinking about it, but anyway, thought that was cool. So something else to add to our repertoire of toys. Jumping into games that I've been playing. Well, no surprise here, Outer Worlds 2. I mean, I'm obsessed with the Outer Worlds.
Oh, I forgot. Yep.
Really love that game. Like, I rarely finish video games. Like, I'm not a completionist regardless, but rarely do I like finish it and then play all the DLCs. I did that with number 1. Number 2 is back, so it's a lot of similar kind of humor, and for those who haven't played, it's like an RPG. You know, obviously there's gonna be some shooting, fighting, but there's like a good story, and there's a lot of humor in this one, which I really appreciate. So it pokes fun at itself and other things in the game. It definitely has like a retro vibe to it, but it's like on planets. I don't know how that works. For the longest time, this is an Obsidian game. I used to confuse Bethesda, like Fallout. They make Fallout with Obsidian, who does Outer Worlds, because they're not the same, but it's almost like they're written with different fonts. Like, it's the same font, but like one's in italics. I don't know how to explain that, but so they have a similar vibe. I find Fallout's just a little more detailed in some of the things that they do. Not as much in Outer Worlds, but it's still really fun. So anyway, so if you're looking for something that you can play first person shooter, like angle, or third person, it's an RPG, fun story. This one I find has a bit more humor. They fixed a few things that were a bit weird in the other one. I find the load times a lot better for the in-between screens in Outer Worlds 2. Still some weird things, like you can't swim. We won't, it's not a huge thing, but it's weird. But other than that, the story is really good. And there's no limit. I can pick up as much stuff as I want, and I will
that's
not
fun.
Be slowed down.
That's fun.
I mean, so far. That might change. I'm already like, oh gosh, I'm already like 40 some odd hours in, and I'm not even halfway done because I do everything. So anyway, lots of game there. Outer Worlds 2, if you haven't tried it, might be something you want to check out. I am playing it on Game Pass, so I have that package, so I'm able to play it there. It is available on Game Pass. Other than that, I think it's like a $90 game plus if you have to buy it. So just throwing that out there. It's a little expensive.
Oh, dang.
Just launched. So
yeah.
Next game to talk about, I did a stream, so if you want to check out more and laugh your buttons off, because I get jump scared quite a few times in this one, it's Devil's Hideout. And Devil's Hideout is it's a short game. It's like a 4 to 6 hour game, if that. And it definitely has a retro style, so like that pixel art to it. And the premise is just a woman and her sister has been missing in this town, and she's trying to find her, and she brings her friend. But there are some weird circumstances with cultists. Random, a little
hate
weird.
It when that happens.
Sure, exactly. And then she meets I don't know, like a medium who's trying to guide her through like how to get in touch with her sister to see if she's still alive. So you're investigating different places. The amount of jump scares I had in this game, because I was not expecting it, was like, you know, I'm like, oh, let's see what's in the morgue. Woo! And then a ghost flies by the screen, but you know when you're just not even thinking about it? It's so random. But hilarious. So the story, I didn't like the ending. The ending really ticks me off. So if you end up playing it, I just feel like it was really abrupt. So I feel like they could have fleshed that out a little bit more. But needless to say, for the $6 that I paid for it, it was worth the money. So Devil's Hideout, I had a good time with that. So if you like that pixel kind of art, that vibe, little scary, not too bad, this might be for you. Another one I've been playing is another kind of puzzle game. So Devil's Hideout has a lot of puzzles. So does Concierge. And Concierge is weird, okay? I'm just going to start off by saying it is a weird game.
I don't think I've heard of this one.
Yeah, it's not what I think a lot of people might have heard of, but it's rated fairly highly, and it is a puzzle game with like a creepy vibe, but it's not scary, if that makes sense. Okay. And it's this person that's in this hotel, and there are spirits, I guess, and they're trying to find their resolution to whatever it is that they're, you know, in their life or whatever. So this person's trying to help them do that. And then when you've resolved them, they show up in this picture that's in the front hall. So I've done a few of them to kind of see weird stuff like mice fighting over stinky cheese. And anyway, it's weird. The art is like interesting. It's like, have you ever seen that art that's like crumpled paper and then it's animated?
Sure. Yeah. Actually, I have. I kind of have a sense of what you're talking about.
Kind of like that, but not exactly. Anyway, that's the kind of vibe. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not an artist, so I'm not describing that very well. If you are, you'll get it. But that's Concierge. So it is touted as a puzzle game with a weird, creepy vibe, but it's not scary. I think you might actually like it, Suzanne, and it's a little quirky. So again, not a super lengthy game. I've done a couple streams of that as well. So if these are interested, you can check out the channel. I usually post them. You'll get an idea if it's something for you or not. Last game I'm going to talk about. This literally just launched, I think, yesterday. So at the time of recording this, it would have only been out for a day or two. And it's called Winter Burrow. And now I am playing this one on Xbox because Game Pass seemingly is getting a lot of these like cozy indie games day one. And this was on my wish list on Steam. So I'm like, you know what? Let me check it out here and I put this in quotes, free, because it's not free, but it's part of Game Pass. And it's like your little mouse, and you're trying to literally living in your burrow. There's a little story. I don't want to give it away in the beginning, how you got there by yourself. And you're going to try to go around, scavenge resources to, fix your bed and, fix your chair and build things. So that's literally what the game is. Resource gathering, building, fixing, that sort of thing. But you also kind of have to battle off some like little bugs and insects and things like that, which also give you resources. So it's good. You can't stay out for too long. If you're outside for too long, you start to get a little cold, and your screen actually gets like frost on it. So you have to race back to either like a fire or to your like little burrow and like warm up from the fire, and then you can go back out and do your scavenging or whatever. If you get too far, I get lost in this game because there's no like HUD to kind of show you like a map. There are like leaves on the ground, so if you're memory challenged like myself, you might struggle a little bit here. I've died like several times in the cold because I couldn't find my way back to a fire or my burrow, and you lose all your stuff. So you have to be mindful of your health, obviously.
Oh.
Yeah.
You lose it all. Oh, that's a bummer.
You lose it all. So,
I mean, it's the game. Yeah.
Sure. Like you just kind of, I've passed out and someone's brought me back, but they didn't bring back all my stuff. So be forewarned about that sort of thing. Noted. So make sure that you're getting back to a warm place to rest, because then you start losing health and you pass out. So it's a lot of managing those kinds of stats as well. It's so cute. Yeah. It's challenging, which I appreciate, but it is that definitely cozy type game. So Winterboro, I do think you will like this, Suzanne, but it definitely takes a minute to like figure out like how long you can be outside, where things are. And if you're directionally challenged, find points in the game that you remember when you have to head back, because I keep getting lost and that's why I keep dying. So Winterboro, cute, cozy, and albeit a little frosty game, but quite good.
I love it. Well, thanks for that, because I love that we know each other so well that you point out that directionally challenged thing, because that can be a killer for me.
Oh, absolutely.
And so, that actually makes me want to take a slightly closer look before I buy into it, because I don't use Game Pass, and
sure. I
even there can be nothing wrong with the game.
For that. No,
yeah, but for me, for me, the wayfinding can be an absolute killer for a game. So, this is why I like chatting with friends or listening to reviews, because I hear things like that. Amazing. I think we talked about we don't have crowdfunding campaigns that we feel like we need to highlight today, but we did want to just bring up that if you've been listening to our previous episodes or paying attention to the industry, you will know that Kickstarter United, the Kickstarter Union, was on strike, and happy to share that after 42 days of a strike, they have come to terms with Kickstarter. So the strike is officially ending, which is great. And it sounds like the union is pretty happy with the agreement that they're coming to with management in terms of what they were trying to protect for minimum wages and protecting workers against, generative AI replacement and stuff like that. So, hey, congrats to the Kickstarter United. And I'm glad that it's over. I'm glad that, it sounds like Kickstarter came to agreement with understanding, the value of their employees and things like that.
Yeah. That's great. That's really, it's important, right? So I'm glad that there was some resolution to this point that's happened.
Yeah. So if you want to know more about what happened, you can go to their website, kickstarterunited.org, and they've got some posts up there. You can learn more. But yeah, no crowdfunding. And Mandi, that may be how the next few episodes go. We'll see, because now is the time. We're headed into November. November, December, January are typically very slow in the crowdfunding world for board games, because people are doing other things. Both the people who run campaigns and the people who back campaigns, right? We're spending our money on holiday gifts and focused on other things. So the winter tends to be a little slower. We'll see if anything pops up, but that's just the way it goes. It's just 'tis the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I do find myself going in other areas like backer kit and that sort of thing, but I find myself also focusing more on like solo RPG things. I find, just because I find those are harder to get for me versus a lot of games. So I don't know. My tastes, I think, have veered a little differently, which is probably best for my wallet. But, we'll see what happens.
Fair enough. Alrighty. With that, Mandi, let's talk about some games that you've been playing. I'm real curious about this first one because 'tis the season.
That's true. Okay. Well, yeah, let's jump in. Let's start with, I am not a Christmas person. When I say that, Halloween's more my
that's
thing.
fine. You don't have to justify it.
But I do like, some of the old cartoons and things we've grown up with. Like, who remembers that one? I think I sing this every podcast. Silver and gold, silver and gold. Come on, the island of misfit toys. Come on, you know what this is.
I don't remember the words, but of course, those classic. Oh shoot. Now Rankin and Bass, right? That's the animators, Rankin and Bass cartoons.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
so. Anyway.
And so it's Rudolph. So
yep.
It's about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. If you haven't seen it, well, you might just not be old enough to have seen it because it's been out for a long time.
Ouch.
Yeah. So anyway, you should see it. It's cute. But the reason why I started singing and talking about it is because I am in fact going to be talking about a game called Rudolph. And this is designed by Nico Cardona and Gabriel Buendia Herrerias, and art is by Benji Santiago, and the publisher is Devere. It plays 2 to 6 players in about 15 to 20 minutes. I realize I didn't look up a price here, but it's a small box, so I don't foresee it being more than about 15 to 20 Canadian. I'm guesstimating. I apologize. I didn't actually pull up the price. So it's a short one. This is really, you'll see, it's like one of those small boxes. You can just toss it and play in between games. And it literally is about Rudolph, and it's supposed to be festive. And this is the kicker. It's a real-time card game. So you're like, okay, Mandi, but you don't really like that.
Yeah, what? I'm shocked.
Yeah, but you should hear how I play, and it still works out for me. But I also play with people who are also, I don't think, like super big on that. So that's probably why everyone was being nice to each other. But we'll talk about that in a second. So obviously being Rudolph, it's set on Christmas Eve. And what's going to happen is you're going to have players compete over literally 10 very quick rounds to draft a reindeer team to earn Santa's favor. That's literally what the game is about. So each round, cards are going to be revealed simultaneously, and then players, what you're going to do is act really quickly to get the one that you want. So what's going to happen is we have decks of cards with us, and then we're going to have these cards face down and then flip them up. And then you're looking for things that will go on your sleigh. So once you flip them up, everyone's like, oh, shoot, that one looks good. That looks good. Obviously, you want to put your hand there because that's the card you want and take that card. Watch your nails, mind your nails, your hands, your fingers. That's probably why I'm not a quick one, because I don't want to injure anybody with my nails. So things that you're looking for is runs of potentially different types of colored gifts, or you want gifts that are the same, pairs of reindeer, pairs of gifts. And there are 2 ends to the card. Some will have a scoring option and some will have images of reindeer or gifts or things like that. And depending on how you place them on your sleigh, so if you put them at the back by making your sled longer, those will be more scoring conditions. If you place it on the front of the sleigh, you'll be covering those scoring conditions, and it'll be an image that kind of works into one of the scoring things that you're trying to do. So it could be reindeer, and the reindeers all have different colored, I don't know what you would call that.
Gear.
Gear. I
Reins,
don't know what the word.
or no, what are they? Yeah.
Reins. Oh my gosh. Reins. They have different colored reins. Wow, everybody. Reindeer. Anyway. And so trying to match those with the scoring, you're trying to get those as well. So you're debating on where to put them on your sled. And that's going to go for, depending on the amount of players, will depend on how many cards are available. And then when the final round is triggered, then you're literally just going to add your Rudolph at the end there, of course, because it's Rudolph's sleigh. And then you're just going to calculate your points based on whatever scoring conditions you have, and if it meets those conditions on the sled. That is literally the game.
Yeah.
It plays super snappy. I'm not a huge fan of real time, but to me, this is like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's so like, oh, great. And if I didn't get the card, I'll just make it work. It's not meant to be, overtaxing on the brain. I think it's supposed to be something light, fun that you can play with family. I actually think kids probably really like this. Sometimes kids don't even, I just want this card. They just want to be first. I mean, doesn't matter. I think it's just all in the being festive and fun. It was fun. It was a nice light game. This is definitely one that I would play like, oh, my brain needs a break. Let's just toss something light on the table. I like to give away Christmas, little Christmas gifts.
Right. Yep.
This would be something that I would be comfortable giving to someone, even someone who's not played a ton of games. I think this is something they would play with their family or something light or fun, and it plays quickly. I would give these as like little gifts to people. So I think it's a cute game. I see what it's trying to do. It's not trying to be something it's not for what it is. So I enjoyed it, honestly. Quick, fun, easy. Rudolph for me was a win. I thought it was very cute.
I love that. And I had no idea about it. So while you're talking, I'm going to BGG. What's interesting, or searching for it, there's not a lot of information about this game. anywhere.
I
Like
didn't
even the
know that.
BGG page only has the cover image.
Really?
Yeah, and so to look, I wanted to understand what you're talking about the cards a little bit, and
Yeah.
the rules document is there, so I opened up the
Okay,
rules
sure.
doc to get a sense of it. But that actually, I think you nailed it. To me, that sounds like such a great little holiday
Exactly.
trifle, and
Right?
that
Yes.
is fine. And honestly, we've talked a little bit about this before, but there are not a ton of holiday Christmas themed board games. It's just not super common. So it's nice that one comes out that sounds like a gifty, light. I love that. That's really great.
It's funny you say that just quickly before we go on to the next game. I did a stream and I did the Exit Advent Calendar. I played a few doors out of that.
Yeah.
Which I'm terrible at, by the way. But we had still a really good time. And then I asked the question, I'm like, are there any other games that talk about different holidays around this time? Like, Hanukkah or, Kwanzaa has holidays or just things like that. Like, are there any other games? I'd be just very curious. Or do Advent calendars, like, do they do different types of calendars to celebrate different holidays? Anyway, maybe it's a teacher thing. I think it's a really great way to learn about other holidays. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Do they exist? Anyway, I'm throwing that as a question out to anybody. Maybe I'm missing these types of games, but I think it'd be really cool and fun to learn about other types of holidays and make it fun with a game. So anyway, that's Rudolph. So if you're looking for a little gift to put in stockings or whatever, or just to have fun with, there you go.
I love it. All right, I'm only going to cover one game, and it's a solo play game that I've been playing a few times the last week called Dicemancy. Dicemancy is part of this solo game of the month series, and I've backed a few of these. They fund on GameFound.
Oh, yeah.
And it's this best with one publisher, and all they do is publish very consistently a solo game every month. And they range hugely in kind of their core mechanisms or their aesthetics or their setting. But every month you can back another one. And I've backed a few. They all come, as far as I can tell, in Andy, you and I remember this, a VHS size box, a cassette size box. In fact, some of the earlier ones I have are literally in an old tape cassette box, like the plastic ones, because you can still buy them without the pokey things to hold the tape in. Now the Dicemancy that I just got came in a regular telescoping cardboard box, but ones I had bought earlier actually came literally in a cassette box, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
So solo game of the month series, I don't get them all. I'm trying to be a little more selective in how I spend my money. But Dicemancy came up and I had to get it because the aesthetics pull from Japanese anime inspiration, like specifically Studio Ghibli inspired aesthetics. And I mean, I love that stuff. But then I dug into it and it is a solo tower defense game. And I love tower defense. So there you go. You nabbed me. You got me. This one's designed by Eduardo Aguilar Lille, and we have illustrations by Cole Monroe Chitty, Best from One Games. I forget how much I paid for it. Sorry. So like I mentioned, it is a solo defense tower game. It's thematically, you've got beasts, griffins, and chimeras and things like that. And you are witches, so that are protecting your castle. That's all it is. And you have 6 characters in the game you can pick from that you play as, which is great. And they are very adorable illustrations. That's awesome. Most of the game is made up of those long, thin cards that are a little domino shaped because they are indeed 2 halves. Most of the cards are 2 halves. These spell cards are 2 halves. That's what you're going to be doing is laying out a tableau. You have wall cards and you've got all these spell cards that not spell cards. You've got all of these domino cards that are basically the monsters that are marching towards you to destroy your tower. And then you're going to be fighting them off. As you gain these cards, they can become elements in your personal tableau. Because part of what you're going to be doing is building out a 3x3 tableau in front of you using these cards. They can overlap and things like that. And it's going to be a very vibrant, constantly moving space as you go. Because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be building out your tableau, and then using Dicemancy, to activate spell chains. So that's what you're building out. And there's place on these cards for dice. There's arrows on the card. And when you put a die, you're going to activate that. And then you follow the arrows, and it's going to be moving through icons and things like that. And then it hits the end, and that's the power of your spell. Kaboom. And then you can attack the animals. They convert. You can get cards. There's different types of damage, like fire or water damage. And sometimes you can do general damage or do specific damage, all that other stuff. There are special abilities that let you manipulate the die rolls and things like that. And basically it's a scenario-based game, and I forgot to say that. So every scenario will have a win and a loss condition, 6 rounds, that kind of thing, and you have a setup card that lets you track that as well. I know. I'm a little discombobulated. Thanks for putting up with me, Mandi.
No, you're doing great.
So that's what you've got. The character cards, you've got spell cards that mix and match based on the scenario. So scenarios will dictate specifically what you want to do there, specific monster setups. Monsters come in different levels, so you're setting it up in a seeded manner, so it's not just completely random. It's a little smarter than that. Yeah. So what's going to happen, the extra twist, so that's a nice setup. Quite frankly, I think that's a nice setup for a game. You would have me with that in general anyway.
Yeah.
But where I find Dicemancy is extra interesting is in that spell tableau. It is constantly evolving, as I mentioned earlier, because you're going to be getting more cards. And the way that these cards, you build them out, they're going to have arrows that form this path you're going to follow. And you're going to be optimizing your spells constantly because some of the enemies need a specific type of damage. Well, you built up a water chain, but now you got to fire off a fire spell. Well, I've got this card. Putting a card, you're overlapping the cards because you can never exceed that 3x3, but you can overlap cards that are already there. You're constantly changing that tableau. And how you thoughtfully do that by either optimizing the spell you need, not cutting yourself off from future things that you think you need, being as efficient as possible. There's things that you can do. 2 spell chains, all sorts of stuff you can do within that little tight 3x3 grid. It's very clever. Mm-hmm. And especially for a solo game, sometimes, Mandi, in a multiplayer game, when you have a player who min-maxes a lot, sometimes analysis paralysis kicks in. It can be a little frustrating for people around the table.
Yeah.
But Dicemancy is a solo game, so you can really take your time and really work that tableau puzzle with the cards you have, and it's fun. It's really interesting. It kind of lets you tickle your brain and figure out, plan, strategize. Ultimately, there are dice involved, so who the heck knows? That tableau manipulation is really the standout feature, and I really, really like it. Complaints-wise, you can always complain. This is not a complaint because I understand what it costs to make a board game now.
Sure, yeah.
I wish there was more of the illustrations. The cards are very icon-based, which is fine. And then the character cards have that lovely character illustration. They're so charming. I want more of that in the game. I wish there was illustration on the cards. I understand why there's not. The component quality is fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's scenario-based. There's, I think, 6 scenarios. It's not limiting. You're going to replay. It's not like you play, I just cruised the 6 scenarios. I'm done with the game. No, you're going to replay those scenarios. You're going to fail. You're going to try different mix-ups. You're going to mix with different heroes, all that other stuff. So there's a nice amount of replayability. Dicemancy, I really like it. I think it's delightful. If tower defense, if solo play is your thing, it's definitely worth checking out. Mandi, you said $36. Is that Canadian? That sounds Canadian to me.
That would be correct. It is Canadian.
Because I'm pretty sure I didn't pay $36 for it.
I forgot that I converted it to Canadian, yes.
Yeah. So there you go. Dicemancy, solo tower defense game, charming aesthetic, clever puzzly gameplay. It's a hit.
I saw that one, and now I regret not backing because I had a couple that I backed from that series, and there were a couple that I wasn't super a fan
of. I've skipped some. Yeah, I've definitely skipped some.
Yeah, that I got, and I was like, not for me. As a solo, I don't play a ton of solo games, so for me it wasn't great. But this one was one that grabbed my eye, but I was like, I don't know. But hearing you talk about it, I'm like, okay, I guess I should have got this one.
This is when you don't play a lot of solo games.
Yeah.
It is charming, and the puzzle is cool.
Yeah, all right. We'll see. If I have funds in the kitty, we'll take a look. Okay, well, the last game we're going to talk about, I had to end on this note because, funny story, the designer of this game saw us randomly, Suzanne, you and I, on YouTube. So they were like, they're so happy and, vibrant when they're talking about games. I love, if they could take a look at this game that I have. And I was like, yeah. So he reached out, and he's also from, he's Canadian, he's from Montreal. So it was really nice to see that. So yeah, so here we go. So Gems of Iridescia. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It was a crowdfunding. It was on Kickstarter, I believe. Okay. Because I remember seeing it around. Okay. And it's designed by Roberto Panetta, and art is by Michael Deschaux and Sarah Freeds Conlon. And it's published by Rock, Stone, and Dice Games. It's for 1 to 4 players. Plays in about, it says 60 to 90 minutes. And I'd say that's pretty accurate, actually, even with a teach. And to be fair, we were taught the first time by the designer who did Roberto, a very good teach, because as a teacher, I feel I can be judgy a little bit. Did a good teach. And Roberto sent the deluxe version. So that is a version that I'm going to be talking about, but he did let me know of the differences that in the regular versions. The deluxe there's a matte, and some of the tiles have kind of like an iridescent kind of glow on them.
Oh, so the board looks great with the hexes, and the card art's real cute.
Okay, it's really cute. So that's some of the difference with the deluxe. So the deluxe runs about 82 Canadian, and the regular is about 54 regular price. So the backstory I would like to give it here, it's a world once abandoned by its people. Now 4 clans return to explore the gem-rich lands, uncover relics, and compete for the right to rule by collecting the most royalty points. So if you want to be royal, that's what you want here. So in this game, you're going to see worker placement, check. Tile exploration, check. And dice-based gem mining. I don't know about the gem mining, but I do like dice, so check. So those are really cool. Let me just set the scene just quickly. So we use the mat, which is where you're going to be placing these hex tiles face down with different types of terrain. So you do have to place them in a specific area when you're setting up. But these are tiles you'll be moving to. And once you move on these tiles, things will happen. So let's just start with that. Then we each have our own board, and we have like an area where we can keep our gems once we've mined them. And there's a little marketplace for cards. Sorry, I'm holding up my hands like you all can see me, but those who are watching, on the right, on one side, you'll have cards that you can buy that'll help you in the game, sometimes rule-breaking cards, like you can do this twice or do this instead of, that sort of thing. And then there are cards like objective cards that you can take from there and complete based on your gems that you have in your hold to do that. And then they'll give you points end of the game. So those will give you points in game. Once you do them, you score them right away. And there are other ways to get points, but those are mostly it. Then you have dice on the mat. They're kind of to the side in different colors. And that's kind of like a market, like a economic part of the game, I guess you could say, because when you mine dice, you're making it, right? Less of these are available because you're mining them. So it actually increases the value. So we'll get into all that as well. So that's kind of the main setup. So it's pretty straightforward. And player has a different board that you're going to take, but there isn't like a specific ability or anything like that. So you will also have secret objectives, and you start with 2, but you will have to come down to 1 by a certain point of when you reach on the board. When you move on those hexes, there'll be a certain point where you will have to discard one of those objectives. So that's great. It kind of lets you focus, like, oh, I'm not doing so hot on this one. Okay, I'll get rid of it and focus on that one. So that is something that can happen. So on a turn, it's great because you're going to move onto the board. And when you move onto the board, you can only move, your first move will be on the board. Any move after that has to be adjacent to where you are unless you have a card that breaks that rule. And then what you're going to do is flip the tiles adjacent. So going forward, like you'll have an option of where you want to go. And these tiles have gems on the back. And that's like, oh, I want to mine this gem. You don't have to because it does cost money to mine. And I was often very short on the old money situation, but I made it work. And depending on what the cost is, right, you'll have to look at the dice that'll tell you what it's going to cost you to do this, or what it's worth for selling them. That's mindful. And so you do your mining, and however many of those you potentially will get based on the value of the dice that's there. So if I had a green I was on and I was mining that's how many of those I would get. If it's 1, I'm only going to get 1. But you could potentially sell as well. But when you mine, you're actually going to tick that up so that the next time someone does it, it's going to cost you more, but you'll also get more of those when you mine there. So ticking it up is not great because you get more, but it costs more, versus if it's lower, it costs less, but you gain less. It's a whole thing. So that's where that market kind of is really interesting. So if you don't mine it, then you're not going to get that. But there are tiles that will also give you like a wild tile. The reason why is you want to keep these tiles. You're going to have some scoring at the end that's going to count for sets and things like that. So some of those tiles are really nice, but the mining part is not really a thing that you're looking at with those. You're just potentially just going to get that color gem that you want. So you're trying to move through the terrain, trying to complete these objectives. The thing is, when someone gets out, that person that's out is out, but they can now start removing tiles from where you are if you haven't made it out yet. Something I forgot to mention, movement in this game, you move continually up. You can't come back. You need to push forward. So you can move laterally or up, but you can't move back. So if you are out first, you can really change someone's game by like, oh, I see they need a little purple gem there. Oh, yoink, I'm out of the game. I can now decide to remove a tile to force them to kind of go forward and get out of the dungeon tunnel, whatever it is that we're doing. And then the game will trigger obviously when everybody's out off the board, when everyone's off the board. And then you're going to calculate points based on in-game points would have happened from the objectives you've completed. Remember, turning in those gems to complete those objectives, that's going to happen. And then any other cards that you may have had, your objective cards, secret objective cards, if you scored those. And they do sets for how many different gems you have. So sets of different gems will also give you points. And that's the game. So it's pretty straightforward because you're doing the same things. Like, for the most part, the actions are the same. They're not super challenging. Trying to make sure you're staying on top of that money situation is challenging, even though it's like easy, because I like to be cheap and then I spend and then I'm like, oh, I'm broke. So you end up spending turns just trying to get money from selling gems, right? So if I have green, I'm like, I can't mine, but I need money. That green's worth 5. Great. I'll sell it and get 5 coins or whatever. So you have to make those decisions. It definitely has a family level vibe to it, but I do like how they use kind of other things in it, like that economic type, you know, the market and things like that. So if you're like, I'm a super gamer, you can appreciate those things and make decisions accordingly. Also, in speaking to the designer, he mentioned that some of the boards, I was like, well, where did you come up with these names for the boards? And some was really cool. Some of them were just like initials of his family, like the first initials. So it came up with one of the character names, or just like, so there was a lot of collaboration with the family, which I thought was really cute, like the kids and stuff like that. So that really had that kind of playful vibe to the game. So overall, we enjoyed it. Actually, I was concerned. I was like, oh, is this going to be one of these getcha kind of games? I don't know. It has a mat, like throwing all the things on it, but we really enjoyed it. We really liked even though it was lighter, we still liked the way that the game played out. And you would think, great, that I should be flawless and doing amazing at this, but there is some where people can quote unquote sabotage you a little bit, which I didn't mind in this game. That was kind of like the name of the game. I don't actually have anything bad to say because the gems were different shapes. So if you were worried about color, the gems were different shapes. The only thing is on the board where the dice are, you'd really have to make sure they were in the right spot. Otherwise, that can throw someone off if you had challenges with color. But other than that, it should have been fairly straightforward to take a look at. But yeah, I mean, have you ever had that where it was like you had a good time with it? Gems of Iridescia, the components were really nice. It was very cute theming, and we had a good time with the game. We got what we expected.
Yeah, it looks adorable. As I was looking at a faraway shot, I saw the board, and the hexes really appealed to me. But then I was looking at the little character illustrations and stuff, and it is charming. It does give me a not younger, but a more family-ish vibe from that, exactly. And that's cool. And I think about that though. I don't want to. Family can be broader than children. You know what I'm saying? Because absolutely. I think about Flamecraft, and Flamecraft has a huge fan base. People love Flamecraft, but it does have that more cartoony illustration style. It's very cute, very appealing, and you can definitely say, oh, that would appeal. Like, it's a family vibe. You would put that in front of people of any age and feel like they can enjoy it and be comfortable with it. I'm looking at this, I get a similar vibe. Just not having played it, I get a similar vibe, and that in a very positive way. That
is actually perfect. So like literally light to midweight strategy, but like family game, exactly what you're saying. Like you could play with family, and the rules are accessible. They're very straightforward, very clear player aids. Take note, people. Even though it's not a game with a ton of text, still the player aid was extremely helpful. So 100% you described it. So yeah, Gems of Iridescia was not one that was initially on my radar. So again, appreciate it. And it's not positive because it was sent to me. It's positive because we enjoyed it. So something I think that you actually probably would like as well.
Yeah,
and I think it plays solo.
Goodness. Another game I got in the mail that I backed is Tend, which is...
you got that already? I'm still waiting for mine.
I got my pledge.
I'm expecting 3 copies, actually. One for me, one for Steph, one for Christine.
Oh, got it. Yeah, we had talked about this. This is the roll and write by the people who did Moonraker's Studio 4 IB. Yeah. I got it, and it plays solo, so I was going to...
Oh, you played that solo?
And yeah, and I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, no. It's a murder weapon. Don't drop that box on your foot. It will break a bone. I need to be a little more on the go right now, a little more portable. So I'm like, oh, yep, that's not gonna get played solo anytime soon.
I'm sorry. For those who don't know Tend, I'm not interested in playing this game solo. I know my friend Stephanie, who I got a copy for, she will play it solo. It was a lot playing as a group, so it's good. but it's a lot.
Fair enough. Anyway, this is not about Tend. It's just, as you mentioned, plays Gems at Iridescia, plays solo. So there you go. And I said, hey, I've been gaming on the go. And conveniently, we were talking about what we wanted to do for Game Pie. And so we got a little specific. Game Pie, Games on the Go from 2025, the digital edition. All right, Mandi, here we are. Games on the Go from 2025, the digital edition. We were talking about, board game apps, because, board game apps 10 years ago, not that common, more divisive. It feels like people have really just embraced the digital medium to experience board game rules and things like that. But beyond that, as we always talk about video games at the top of the show, we're omni gamers. And it's interesting because people that I have met through board games, we have found synergies in video games that we also enjoy.
Absolutely.
So it's fun to share those recommendations and chat about video games that we also enjoy, because it's like, if our tastes align in board games, they might align in digital games as well. So we thought it would be a fun game pie to serve up as we head into the holidays. People are traveling, you're on devices maybe a little bit. You're trying to ignore the weird racist uncle at the dinner table, and you got your phone under the table playing a game or something. So we thought we would list some newer games that we've been enjoying that we like to play on the go.
Yeah.
So Mandi, would you like to serve up a slice?
Yeah. So just to be aware, these are from 2025, and I play these all on the Steam Deck. So I do have a Nintendo Switch as well. The whole theming on the go, people would get the inference, but I did specifically. So these are Steam Deck friendly. Okay. So the first one on my list is Starbirds. And I think you have this one too, Suzanne. And this is the same people who did Dwarf Romantic. Yep. And I would say it's not as cozy. Like, it's still like chill. But, I like I know I'm going to get in flack for saying this, but I like getting my resources from a planet and then sending them to another planet to, get my objectives done. Like, it really is that straightforward. Took me a minute to get my head around the controls and stuff, but once I got it, I'm like, okay, cool. So it's like a small puzzle and some resource building and super cute art. I am here for it. I play it at night, but also really nice when I was traveling. Starbirds, fun.
Yeah, by the people who by Tucana Games. By Tucana Games. Yeah.
The name escaped me.
Yeah. Tucana Games. It's one of those ones, it compounds and it starts to get a little stressful in a good way. Yeah. First up for me. So I have some Steam games, some phone games. So all over the place. First up for me, Flick Shot Rogues. I've talked about this on the podcast briefly, but I've been digging into it. I just love it. It's a roguelite where it's a physics one, kind of like Pool, where you've got, but it's fighting. So you have heroes and a field, and you're just trying to toss the heroes at the enemies and knock them around and do damage. But you do it in that Pool video game mechanism where you pull back and you pick the angle of your shot and the strength of your shot. And you're trying to set up trick shots and ricochets. You're going to get different characters have different abilities and all that other stuff. It's a ton of fun. I like it because not only is it enjoyable in terms of the game itself and the different characters and what you can build up and the different combos and the roguelite ability, it's also enjoyable in that I can pick it up and put it down just like that and not worry about missing anything or having to remember where I was at. It's perfect for kind of the pick up and go, have to put it down, I've got to go help make dinner kind of game. So that's Flick Shot Rogues.
Oh, that sounds good. It's on my list, but I haven't had a chance to pick it up yet. So I'm glad to hear it's fun. And it's one of those ones you can leave and come back to. I like that. The next slice of pie for me for games on the go from 2025 is Tiny Bookshop. So it literally is that. You have a tiny bookshop, you're traveling, and people come to your bookshop and are looking for specific types of books to meet their needs. So some of them are a little more challenging. They'll give you a little description of what they're looking for. Some of them are pretty straightforward. Like they'll tell you right in it, I love fantasy, blah, blah, blah. So then they're looking for a fantasy type book. But they may say things like, I love, psychology, one's a book's about psychology, but I like them to make sure that they're not super factual. That is a total juxtaposition there, but you get what I'm trying to say. So they might just give you some challenging things to do. So it's up to you to make sure that your little bookshop has a variety of types of books, but that it's for that area. You're making sure, okay, they seem to like mystery books, so I'll just make sure to have a little more mystery, factual books, tourism books, whatever the case may be. So you can build that and then try and make your shop better by getting little, trinkets or things like that, that'll give you like extra boosts to make it a bit easier to people to help them with the books that they're looking for. So Tiny Bookshop is one that's one of those ones. Yeah, I'll play it, put it down for a little bit, play it. I've played it when I'm traveling, but even just before bed. It's really nice and just relaxing. I get to like pet my little dog at my shop and my little kitty cat. So yeah, makes me comfortable and cozy. So that's Tiny Bookshop. Have you played this one?
I haven't, and it does
so
sound
cute.
adorable. Yeah, I might have to take a look at that one. Next up for me, it is a mobile game that came out recently, and it is a board game adaptation, and that is the My City app. This is available on mobile. It's not on Steam, and I have been playing a ton of it. It is a full implementation of the My City Reiner Knizia legacy game. Mandi, you and I and Ashley played through this, right? Where it's a polyomino game. You flip over a tile, a card, and you put that tile on your board, and you spoilers, right? Things will evolve, the board will evolve, the tiles will evolve, etc., etc. It's a legacy game. I don't know why they did a My City app, but I'm glad they did. It takes you step by step from the beginning all the way through. You can do different challenges. It lets you progress in the true legacy style. You get that exploration, but then you can just reset it and do it again. It's really well done in how you control the polyominoes and place them. It's shockingly good to me on just my phone as I'm sitting in a waiting room or something, just cranking out a game of My City, and it's legacy, but I can also just play it solo, right? I'm just playing against the machine, and I don't have to, be around. It plays great. So if you like legacy games or want to explore a legacy game with no pressure or whatever, or you just like polyomino Reiner Knizia games, My City, the app, is great.
Yeah, it's good. Funny story. We're playing through My Island right now in real life. So
I really want to play My Island. Yeah.
Yeah, quite good. So very cool. I didn't even know they made an app for that. So now I know. The third slice of pie for me is This Seat is Taken. And I know I've talked about this on the podcast before as like one of the intro games I was talking about. This one was fun. It's one of those ones where literally as people are coming on a bus or in a classroom or whatever the setting is, and they have demands, like I need to be close to the front, but I don't want to be beside someone who's chatty or things like that. So you have to try and meet these demands, but it's puzzly because someone else may want to be at the front, but they want someone who's chatty, right? So putting them in the right spots, making everyone happy is the goal of the game. So it sounds simple enough, but it does progressively get a bit more challenging as you get into the game. I actually finished this one. I really liked it. It is one that I do play on the Steam Deck. So portable, yes, maybe if you don't have your Steam Deck, it might be more challenging to play, obviously. But one that I thought was really nice for if you have a Steam Deck and you're on the go. So This Seat is Taken.
It's a cute game. I just know that kind of puzzle game. I am rarely in the mood for it.
I was going to say, I don't think you're going to care for this one at all.
And that's a me thing, not a game thing. Absolutely.
Sure, absolutely.
Next up for me is a game that you can get on mobile or on Steam, and that is Dungeon Crawler. Again, I've mentioned this game in the podcast before, but I have to bring up here, what a fabulous roguelite claw machine game. I'm serious. It's delightful. So you get a claw machine, you get a character, you're operating a claw machine. It's literally this claw, slides across the screen into a bucket of goodies, pulls it out, drops it down the chute, and what you pull out are the items that you use to battle the monsters. So you'll have swords that do damage, shields that give you protection, potions that give you special abilities, things that build up your strength. There are so many different items, so many different combos. There are things that adjust the claws that you get and make them better or more interesting. Combos, different items. There are different heroes with different skills that you can build up. It's a delight. And just like Flickshot Rogues, it's one that you can easily pick up and put down at any point. It's so goofy, it's so fun, and the smartest thing about Dungeon Crawler is the physics are solid. I don't think a goofy game like this works if the physics don't work. And thankfully, they put a lot of effort into that. So as you're picking up things, the claw goes down. It's got a little ambient movement as you're pulling things up. The weight of the things, the momentum of the speed that you are dropping the claw in, all that impacts it, making it elevates the experience on top of the cute illustrations, all that good stuff. So Dungeon Crawler, whatever platform you want, definitely worth a shot.
I have this one. I've played it. It's a little tricky at first, but definitely a lot of fun. Definitely reminds me of, think of back in the day when you used to use those things in the machines. They were really tricky to use, so it would make sense. The last game that I have for this game pie is one I have played when I was traveling and finished it, and it sparked conversation when I was traveling because someone was like, "Oh, I noticed you were playing this game," and that is Date everything. So this is one that's a little different than the ones on here because it definitely is more of a narrative and then kind of choose, depending on what you choose, gives you different types of responses, but you're trying to date your furniture. You're dating the household items in your house. So I guess they would say it's like a date simulator, kind of. Matt Mercer, apparently, I didn't realize at first, is a character in this game. So that was very exciting.
Matt Mercer's or a character that he plays?
Sorry. A character that he plays.
Oh, it's like,
but then once you get the character, like it's 100% like, yeah, okay, you're
dating Matt Mercer. You're
funny. Like, yeah, this is Matt Mercer.
That's funny
because they're into like RPGs and things like that. So it's pretty him, but in animation. And so that's it. You're trying to date them. And once you either you're friends, not friends, they hate you, whatever. The point is you're trying to realize them so they become like actual human beings. And then you get updated on their life and that sort of thing. So this was one that I played on the go. It's really easy to play while you're traveling. It sparks conversation because I had someone say, oh my gosh, I'm playing that too. And then it's had a whole wonderful conversation about what did you do? This is what I did. Anyway, so date everything. It's silly fun, but a well done game. So I really enjoyed that.
I love it. And last up for me is a recently released app on iOS only right now. Hopefully it'll hit Android soonish, but it's also something you can play in a browser on a computer. So if you are on an Android, you can just play in browser. And it's really more of a website in a way because it's Puzzmo. Puzzmo. Puzzmo is a puzzle of the day site. Just like people do Wordle every day, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a whole bunch of other connections, I think is another one. Well, Puzzmo is a puzzle of the day site that has 12, 15 different puzzles of the day, and they're constantly evolving and adding more. And it's started by Rita Orta and Zach Gage. And Zach Gage is a name that stands out because Zach Gage is responsible for some of the best mobile puzzle games ever created. He's been in the business for years. And go look up Zach Gage and you're going to see word puzzles, card games, things like that. He's a genius game designer, and here is Puzzmo. So you've got ones that are spatially, like flip these shapes around. You've got multiple different styles of crosswords every day. You've got shorter Sudoku, different takes on that, all sorts of other word puzzles. And my personal favorite, Pile Up Poker, which is a grid. There's a small one and a big one, 4x4 or 5x5. And you're going to get a hand of cards 6 through ace. Shuffle it up and you're going to get a hand of cards. And basically you're just placing cards into that grid. You get a hand and then you place cards into that grid and you're trying to make poker hands straight across and up and down, right? So that ace you put in the corner is going to count for the row it's in and the column it's in. So you're just trying to maximize, trying to make really good poker hands across and up with that combo. God. It's so great. And then if you do really good and then you discard a card and then you get more hands. So it's so good. I love Pile Up Poker. Quite frankly, I would have paid for an app just for Pile Up Poker. It's that good. But here you have Puzzmo. It is free. You can do this every day for free. You just have to create a little account and then it is free. I paid up and then I get to go a little deeper into the catalog and things like that. Like you can play older puzzles and stuff like that if you pay up. But Puzzmo, if you're into the puzzle of the day, here we have it. It's an independent site by great designers, perfect for gaming on the go. I love it. So that's Puzzmo.
Yeah, it's one I need to check out. And quickly, I'm going to toss it in here because I realize how can I make this list? I know. One quick one. It's called, and you've heard me talk about it, Connect Words. Connect Word.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's another thing. You can play it daily, whatever. It's free to join up, and it literally is you're trying to find words that are alike in rows and trying to move them around to make them have similar rows. And then when you get to like the end of it, then you'll have it in columns, like which the columns are correct anyway. And it gets progressively more challenging. It's super like straightforward. It's free. Honestly, I'll often pull that out, even if I'm just playing a game and I'm like, you know what? I know the rules. I'm not listening, whatever. And then get back into it. I know that's a bit of a no-no, but I know it. And anyway, so Connect Words is another one that I think is really fun.
Great call out. I will point out Puzzmo has a game kind of like that called Circuits. So I'm just saying.
Okay. I will check it out.
So there you go, folks. Some digital games on the go from 2025. Some newer digital games that might appeal to you. Check them out. There are so many games. Obviously, like any video game from 2025 could apply, but hopefully you can see some parameters we put on that. And obviously we can't play everything. Would love to have your suggestions. Now, Mandi, I am behind on updating BGG. I will try to do it today, promise.
Sure.
But I do want to hear more suggestions along like Tiny Bookshop. Have you played it? Or have you tried Dungeon Crawler? Is there some goofy roguelike game I somehow missed? Because apparently I'm addicted to them and I need to play them all. You can share all of that with us. Please do. You can email us at saltandsassgames@gmail.com. Or just chime in on that thread that I will post. I'm a little behind, I know. Board Game Geek Guild 4131, or you can look up guilds in Salt and Sass Games. Chime in there. We love hearing from you. We do read it, even if we don't always reply to everything. Yeah. So really love everybody in there. More game pie suggestions are also always welcome. Or chat us up on the socials.
Yes, the socials. You might be watching us right now on the YouTube, or maybe you catch a stream on the Twitch, and you can find us there at Salt and Sass Games. That's Salt and Sass Games. You can also find us on Blue Sky. We got a little professional there and kept it to Salt and Sass. So Salt and Sass on Blue Sky. You can find me on Blue Sky and Instagram. I think that's it right now at 613 Mandi. That's Mandi with an I. How about you, Suzanne?
And you can find me on Blue Sky. I am at 425 Suzanne. As always, it is a pleasure and privilege to be podcasting with you today. Thank you so much for making us part of your extended gaming family and for being part of ours. For what it's worth, folks, when this episode drops, I will hopefully, knock on wood, if everything works out, be headed out to PAX Unplugged. Unfortunately, Mandi can't go this year.
I know.
I'm sorry. I'm going to miss you, Mandi.
I know. I'm so sad.
So I'm going to be sad. If I make it to PAX Unplugged, I'm going to be extra sad. So please, folks, if you're out there and you're going to PAX Unplugged, cheer me up. Come visit me. Come say hi. I'll often be at the Restoration Games booth or roaming around the hall or event space. I would love to chat with you there because you got to mend my sad heart from Mandi not being there. But when I'm back off, I'll have the tea, Mandi. I'm sure I'll have lots of gossip to share.
Yes.
The good stuff. But until then, folks, just take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Stay hydrated and play a lot of games. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. If you'd like to support the podcast, please check us out on coffee.com/saltandsassgames. Thank you for your support. We are also part of the Goonhammer Media Network. Check out more of their content on media.goonhammer.com. Salt and Sass is produced with love by Mandi and Suzanne, and we'll be back next episode with more salt, more sass, and more games.